It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, Miss Rusty. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, second show today because that's what's happening. I don't know. You know how it goes. I like to do a lot of shows, and I need to take the share off of that for now so we can get here. You can see a lot of us. It's just me right now. So it's just a lot of me, which is better than my screen, maybe. But yeah, we're here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN, with other great shows such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast, This Is It with Lizzie, and Saved by the Ben, and our sponsors, Sock'emUp.org, Hardcore and Comedy, Hypnosis is Great, Stoner Eats Productions, and Fred Band Savage's Buck. And so today, that's what's going on, you guys. I'm gonna say before we start, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. That's how we keep these places going, and you know that. And you know that all it takes is just a second just to click it. You can just click it or don't click it. I don't care. I like you to, but you don't have to. Just listen. Come back and listen. I have cool guests. I have special guests, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bring a special guest on. Oh wait, no. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'm gonna bring on two special guests. And I totally remember that I forgot to do something. I remember that I forgot. Um, I remember that I forgot to ask how to pronounce your last name. And I think you're on mute. There you are.
I am no longer on mute. My last
Perfect.
name is Durcok.
Yeah, Durcok. Okay, I was gonna make sure I didn't or say it wrong. What about, are you both have the same last name? Are you both Durcok?
No, not
Or
yet.
not yet.
No, it means
What?
Laporte.
Laporte. Okay. Then I'll make sure I will. I'll take care of that later.
I'm not concerned about it. We're not concerned
Probably.
about it. Call us whatever
Okay.
you want.
Perfect. Well, we'll go with Jen and Den. I haven't had a setup like this for a while. I don't know if I have it all this season where I've had two guests from the same location on at the same time. So you two are a bit of trailblazers here. So
Oh,
The way
nice.
we like it.
yeah, that's cool. It works out. I forgot for a little bit until I was looking last night. It's like, oh, okay, I do have two guests on today. So wanted to make sure I had that right, but also, or maybe that was yesterday morning. Everything's kind of a blur this last weekend. So I wasn't doing anything like that. I just did a whole bunch this weekend. And I don't remember anything. So that
sounds like our lives right now too. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It works out. We understand.
yeah, it's always hustling and always going. So you two work together. Is that what the gimmick is?
Sometimes.
So in life, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
In life, yes. Okay. What about in air quotes life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're yeah.
Oh my God. We both have separate businesses, but we also like combine and do stuff together sometimes as
Yeah.
well.
Collaborate.
We'll call it collaborating.
Yeah. 1-2 punches. Jen's good at getting, well, it depends on the person, but sometimes we'll start someone off with me and then they move over to Jen or vice versa. And we just sort of have different skills and
Yeah.
So yeah.
We've done a lot of like, I will find the area where people need to do work. And I do like the energetic work. And then I send them to Dan and he gets them in for the deep work. So
is there crossover there at all between what you do and what he does, or does it stop off and this is where you go for Jen and this is where you go for Dan? Or are there some
would say that,
people
like,
who, yeah,
there's some crossover, but for like spirituality or energetic work, you're coming to me. And for like very realistic kicks in the butt, you're going to Dan. Like for the physical, like this is what you do to take action in your life right now, you go to Dan.
And so, okay, so do you ever have something like where you have a client and they like one of you more than the other? Does it ever get to be
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, well, I just would rather work with you through the whole thing, or
100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
and
And
it's,
sometimes they start out feeling like that with me, and then we finish whatever we're doing. Like we've had clients that have done like big sections of time with me, and then they've gone over and done big sections of time with him. So it's kind of whatever your flavor is at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, so if people need more, I don't know if the right word is more time to like explore ideas or explore situations that they're going through, and they need time to sort of come to terms with maybe some parts of spirituality, they tend to go to Jen, because I very much like action oriented stuff, and so they always leave with some sort of task or some sort of action steps. So yeah, so if people are feeling like life is already too crazy, then they typically like to sort of just settle in and kind of work through the heavier, I don't know the right way of saying this, the heavier mental stuff. And then once they feel prepared to kind of start to make moves, then we get into like the strategies and that type of stuff.
and so then so where, like, are you guys just, are you word of mouth? Are people like, someone talks to you and then it kind of goes from there? Are you guys out at I don't know what they're called, if there'd be a trade show or whatever you would call that, and just sort of out there putting yourselves out there, or how's that going?
Honestly, it's kind of a
Or-
little bit of everything. We have lots of word of mouth stuff. We've done for a few years now, we've done holistic healing circles where we kind of do a little bit of our trade at a healing circle with a couple other people. And we've done trade shows as well, a lot of social media. So we're kind of dabblers. We're everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, investing in different areas for sure.
And so then, is this all in person? Are you doing online stuff too, or how's that working?
Both. Yeah,
Both?
the holistic healing circles tend to be in person. And when we first started, because we started before COVID hit,
In the before time?
Yeah, before time again.
And that was all done in person. And then with COVID, you had to shift, right? Everybody had to pivot. So now we kind of do a combination of both, in person, over the computer, whatever people are comfortable with, really.
Yeah, the shift unfortunately became very convenient. So now when you're trying to like measure going back out and being face to face with people, it's like there's all these things that come up, but we still work in person. Like she said, the healing circles. I've got a circuit that I do once every 2 weeks where I go in person and meet people like at where they're at. Yeah, but the energy is completely different if you're doing one like face to face. It's people really are a lot more involved. You can just feel it, and so are we, or so am I. I should say, I shouldn't speak for you, but I'm much more involved. I can feel more like the body language. I can feel more of their energy, and see their facial expressions clearer and that type of stuff. And I find it helps a lot.
I can
So-
work wherever. It doesn't matter for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it became interesting. Like I was doing Zoom. I had an office up until 2019, and then I moved and thought I'd be snowed in everywhere where I was. So, and rent for an office was crazy expensive. So I started doing Zoom, and people were real iffy about it. And then I guess the before time ended, and we went into that, and everyone became very open to that, and it didn't need an office anymore. If people really wanted to meet somewhere, I had a spot that would be able to rent me out by the hour or whatever. But
Yeah.
and so then, are you going to people's houses or like their jobs, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's typically workplaces. Most commonly for me anyways, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, mainly in like relationships and leaderships with their employees, and really just trying to gain more, trying to think of the right words here, kind of let go of the reins and put systems in place so that they can kind of step away from their business. So I wind up going to their workplaces often, meeting with their employees or sitting with them, and kind of going over the day-to-day and whatever. And so yeah, it's usually workplaces, you know.
Yeah, going to people's houses can be, I mean, it's a whole thing. Being in somebody else's house, especially you two are in Canada, correct? Somewhere?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well, here in the States, if you're going into somebody's house, they can say all kinds of stuff. They could say, oh, that I had some Leonardo da Vinci, I guess, as the kids say now, painting original, and this person came in here, they stole it, and I don't know. And so, or there's a lot of stuff kind of like that where it's iffy to go into someone else's house, and because it's it's their space. But I don't know. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that much up there, but I was very cautious. I only went into one person's house, and then I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't know what, they're these people, they're good people, they're my clients, but they're not, you never know. You never really know. So
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate, but it's been nice though that, I mean, I'm happy with people being in their home and them getting to be, if they can't be like directly with me, they can be sitting in that spot that's comfortable for them. They can be hanging out in bed. I don't care. They can do whatever. They can sit on a couch and be in their underwear or whatever, and that's totally fine, instead of having to go into some office that's maybe comfortable if you're lucky, but
Mhm.
usually most offices don't tend to be as good of a place. Even like your own personal office just never seems to be as comfortable as home. I mean, what home is home.
No.
So
No,
No,
never.
obviously not.
No. And
yeah.
and then the world is so busy just in general. I was talking to people yesterday, and we're just talking about how everything is so closely scheduled and so busy. And so if you can save, I don't know, let's say 20 minutes car ride each way, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that can give you 40 more minutes with your family, or that could give you 40 more minutes to prepare a healthy meal, or it's a lot of time in today's, I don't know the right word, society, environment, whatever you want to call it. It can be a lot of time saved.
Yeah, that and then just the stress of not having to go and drive through that, especially when you're about to, come home with your family or be with your family or whatever, even by yourself, or just being able to ease into it. It was kind of nice watching like a lot of the big, I don't know, a lot of the big buildings just closed down for a while, and
Mhm.
it was great for driving around and being able to do stuff with a lot of people being able to work from home.
Mhm.
I had a blast. I uh gotta go out a little bit, but I mean, it wasn't a blast for everybody, but what were you two doing then during the after the before time?
During the middle time,
The
During the
middle
middle
time,
time.
man.
Yeah, the
Middle
middle
ages.
time. The Middle Ages.
we were trying to figure out how to pivot our business. We started, well, Dan owned a gym that was
Whoa.
pretty solidly up and running. We had just finished expanding the gym. I had just come on board. We just finished expanding the gym into an open gym and the classes that we were doing. So we expanded everything, and then everything shut down.
9 days later.
So 9 days later, it was 9 days.
Whoa.
Yeah. Everything just went.
So we had to try and figure out what we were going to do after in the middle time.
How did
And
that go? I mean, And like just trying to be able to pivot. I mean, I assume it wasn't an easy pivot to go from having something you have figured out to being in oh, okay, we need to pivot. I mean, is it
Mm.
like, is it shut down for a little bit and or is it immediately go right into something new? Or is
Well,
it,
yeah, I
you know,
think we spent a lot of time like back and forth between, are we gonna stay open? Are we gonna try and do this with all the regulations and rules and the openings and closings? And then we both felt like really strongly intuitively that we were supposed to be done with the physical building and try and pivot. But I mean, it took a long time.
Yeah, well, I think it took us 6 months to finally decide to pull the plug. And it was like we had just sort of come out of the scratching clawing phase of a new business and went kind of right back into it. So that was challenging. But the 6 months we held on to it. The operating costs were incredible. We held on to it anyways. And then we got about 6 months in, and they started coming with I don't know what you call it, like a reopening plan. They had like these reopening plans, how you could have limited people and what the regulations were going to be and stuff. And we just went, we just can't even
It would have
open.
been like 3 people.
Yeah, allow 3
Like,
people in the
Yeah.
gym.
not enough
Yeah,
people.
where we would normally have like 20 or 30
Yeah.
type thing. So it wouldn't have been able to pay the bills anyways. And then we were really grateful we did decide to close it, because for the next 2 years, they yo-yoed open, close, open, close, open, close. So our employees like would have been, yo-yoed as well and so on. So it was easier to just say, that's it. We're glad we just said, that's
Yeah.
it. Shut it down, move on, and put it behind us and move into the next thing.
Yep.
So then it started this sort of phase of
Yeah.
trying to build a business from scratch again.
But a lot of it, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out like where we even wanted to pivot to, right? Because you pivot and then you start going and you're like, no, not this way. It's like kind of like pivot. And now I think we're both solidly in a place where
Yeah.
we're comfortable
Yeah.
with where we're at. So.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
was this anything that was on the horizon beforehand? Or did it just sort of pop into your head? Let's do this. Let's explore this.
Well, it was definitely on the horizon.
Yeah.
Jen had already opened an office. We had set a room aside in the gym. And she was using that as an office to work with people in this sort of form already. And so the idea was that with the rebrand and when we re-renovated and expanded, we were going to offer these services. And then the idea was that in a year or two, let's say, when the business was able to run on its own with a manager in place, we were going to kind of move in this direction anyways. So it kind of was, it was just kind of a kick in the butt to kind of get going a little quicker.
That works out all right. You
Yeah.
probably didn't think so at the time, but yeah, at the time it was probably a little frustrating. And but I mean, that's when you need that kick in the butt. Something was telling you that kick in the butt and got you into doing what you're doing now. And then you can kind of, I mean, we're getting to work side by side, but now it seems a little more, and you can be at home on a Monday afternoon together.
Yeah,
And
that part's been pretty cool.
yeah. So do you get to have lunch and stuff together then? A lot of the time, do you get to sit down and be like, hey, it's lunchtime. Let's have some caviar and whatever else you're having
It was in our
for lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the day.
Yeah.
We're kind of, I don't know, we're dabblers, so we kind of have a lot of stuff on the go at once. So we're in and out a lot, but also when we can.
Yeah, probably a couple times a week we get to,
Yeah.
and we get to have maybe slower starts to our mornings than most, than we were able to in the past, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's a weird balance because then we're working Saturdays, and so it's like for us, it's more of the opportunity to spend more time with family, when it's convenient, and be fully present then and there, rather than having I don't know if that makes sense, rather than having like a set schedule per se.
Right, when you might still be thinking about work and still not there, like, oh, I got this deadline of whatever, and so then you take Sundays off. Is that what you were getting at with saying that you work sometimes Saturdays?
We are trying to, but like, I think this is maybe also what Dan was trying to get at, is just when you work from home, it's really like, if I can hear my child downstairs having fun and giggling and Dan and her playing, like, makes me want to go and not be working, right? So it's that balance of like finding a dedicated space and a dedicated focus to be able to do your work when it's work time, and then come up and still have like the balance between. I don't know if that answered your question. I feel like I just went off on a tangent.
Well, so then are there are your rooms that your offices, are they far enough apart, or is it like being in a call center where you're kind of hearing everything that there's, that the other one's saying?
Yes.
And
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've worked in those, and it's hard. That's really hard to do that
Yeah.
one. So do you have enough space, or do you guys have soundproofing going on, or?
No, we've
There's
got enough.
zero
There's
soundproofing.
no, depends. Usually we're
Like
okay.
outside and inside count and soundproofing.
Well, that's the thing too, is a lot of times we'll take off to a coffee shop, or we'll sit on the back deck because they've got lots of room here. It's nice to just sit outside and enjoy nature. So it's like we have a lot of flexibility there. But like you said, Sundays are definitely our family day, where like nothing happens but family on that day. And then yeah, we try to make it like, if we can cut out early here and there, then we'll take advantage of that. But those things come at the cost of like having to work, maybe not do like a steady 40-hour work week from 9 to 5 or whatever it is. It's kind of a little bit all over the place, but we find that when we are with our family, we're able to just turn it all off and just focus in 100%. And it's really rewarding. It's really rewarding because
That's something that took practice though.
yes.
I don't think we were always like that. I think that's something that's definitely taken practice. So
Mhm.
What was it that had to be practiced for that?
being
Like,
present
Yeah.
and not thinking about like, oh, I have to do this, or being at work, like I said, and feeling like I would rather be, obviously always, I would rather be with my family, but feeling like I'm super focused on work when I have the chance to work, and then being super present with my family when I'm with my family, I think.
Yeah. So it's just the things are being able to turn off whatever it is that's going on in your mind and just put it aside. So I guess it's the whole sort of discipline thing, being like, being clear on what it is you're trying to achieve, making sure that you're blocking out chunks of time that are adequate to do that work, and then staying focused on that work while you're doing that work, not scrolling like social media or answering messages or
All the other distractions.
any distraction that you could find, cleaning the house, doing dishes, making food, whatever it is, and just setting like that time aside, putting headphones in if you have to, and just getting it done. And then when you're done, and you've accomplished the goals for that day, then you can turn it off and say, hey, normally I'd work another hour, but I'm done everything for today. So let's just go enjoy our time together. Whereas in the past, I would have kind of, when I would do a lot of busy work, it'd be like, this is the time duration for my workday, and I have to try to get as much done as possible in this workday. And then no matter what would happen in that workday, I'd still end the day feeling like I didn't do enough. So like I said, having tasks for each day, setting aside an adequate time to finish those tasks, staying focused while you're in those time chunks, and then whenever those tasks are done, instead of saying, oh, I want to go take on more, say, no, what's important to me is my family, so I'm going to go take advantage of that.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too was like being able to slow down and realize that even if you have a list of 100 things to do, like that's not realistic to get those done in one day. So you pick like, learn how to prioritize your stuff. So what's the top like 1, 2, or 3 things that you want to get done that day, and what's a manageable amount of time to do that, and that's all you focus on. I think that's been a huge learning opportunity for me with that one.
Same.
Yeah.
we're both very like creative, so it's we like chaos, but we have to reel it in. So we like just have to have just enough structure so that we can flow. So it's not too chaotic, but it leaves us room for flow, if that makes sense. That's been one of our big things.
Is being able to get that point of, yeah, being able to have the freedom to do what you want, but at the same time, stop here. You've done too much. That's it. That's it. Let's go do something different. And so then you're just able just to say, just turn it off and nothing ever comes later. And I mean, do you, well, so let's say you're in that time, all of a sudden you get a great idea that comes in. What happens?
Oh, it's a good question.
Yeah,
Take a
this
note.
is where it gets difficult. God, you literally just say like, I need to pause for a second. I need to write something down. I have either paper or my phone with me all the time, and I'm always writing down whatever's coming through. And then you just put it away after and keep going.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you experience this as well, but you like if you let it sit there, then your mind is trying to process it so that you don't lose it, and or you're trying to remember it so you don't lose it, which is what is removing you from being present with yourself or your family or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So like Jen said, super simple, get it down on paper. And if anything comes up, because that is for us when these creative ideas come up, it's when you just surrender and just sort of in the moment and enjoying life, and all of a sudden you're having these things come to you. So yeah, just getting it off your mind onto a piece of paper or written onto a phone, and then you're done. You set it aside.
That works out all right. That works out.
Do you do that too, or?
Sometimes I try, but then sometimes I don't end up writing enough. And I feel like
2 dots and a plus sign. You're like, what is that?
yeah, what is this? I don't know what I was trying to get at. And I feel like it's one of those like Larry David moments or something, and I don't know what's going on with it. And I'm like, I don't know what this means. And so yeah, I try to at least will write enough down that it's not just some thought. I try to get at least enough of it where I can come back to it. And then it's also going back to it and, knowing if it's written in a notebook or if it's in my phone somewhere, because my phone's with me most all the time. My notepad sometimes is, but yeah, then going back through notes in my phone, it's tough. They're in a lot of different places. And
Yes, same.
I think that's the hard part. Get them in one spot, and I'll say, "Oh, I usually use a Google Doc or something," or, and then it's like, "Oh, I'll put this in the Notes app," and
And it gets
I'll write an
lost underneath
email.
the thousands.
Yeah, I'll write an email to myself. I'll send myself a text message. I'll look at that again, and then it doesn't happen. So, yeah, you learn a thing or two, and so, so then, are you planning on going to, I don't know, going to the next level together with or what would the next level kind of be? Or is that like some sort of, is there a book coming or something, or some sort of
Interesting.
There are a few books coming.
There are, yes.
Trying to squeeze them in between all these other things we got going on. Staying disciplined with them is a challenge for the two of us. We get caught by shiny things often. We have to kind of reel it back. But yeah, I think we've got lots of stuff coming. We do work together on different projects. So it's more like we kind of pull the projects on and off the burner, like depending on where we're at. So we work together in what we call the Independence Project. And we help families with anxiety. So it's usually starts out with someone contacting us saying that one of their teens has a lot of anxiety, and parents have anxiety and they're struggling to sort of manage it or get any help with it. And here in Canada, there's a like really long waiting list, like years, and not enough supply for the demand. And a lot of people also can't afford it. So we run the Independence Project. We've been working it for about a year now. And we're just trying to find ways to get these services to people to help them, which has been a real challenge to try to figure out how to make it accessible, how to make it affordable, how to get them information that's actually going to help them. And yeah, so that's kind of one of the projects we work on together. And then we also do the healing circles together. So we're used to working together. Yeah, I don't know what's coming. To be honest with you, I don't know what's coming.
We're letting the universe direct that show. Just taking the next action step that is
Yeah.
presented.
Yeah.
And here we are with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what really matters. As long as you're here with me, that's what it's all leading to anyway. So then, so when you are in book writing time, is that on your phone? Is that in, a notepad? Is that on a typewriter? Is that on a computer? Is that on a stone and chisel?
Yes.
yeah.
I wish I could say yes to that.
Yeah, same. Kind of do wish.
Yeah. No, it's not on a stone and chisel. I just write on a laptop myself.
Yeah.
I think you're the same.
I attempted to write a book several times, and I sort of get inside my own head and stop. The flow, I cut my own flow. So and I started working with a ghostwriter, and it's really sharp. It's just an interview process that they go through. And so I'm not actually going to write the book. I'm only going to do the interview process. And then this is the first time I ever do this. So they're going to try to capture my essence, if you will. So I'll review it and see where it comes from. But we spend like 20, 30, 40 hours of interview to kind of go through different things. And then they, as the experts, sort of take it and piece it together. Because what happens, and not a lot of people talk about this, but what happens in the writing process is that a lot of people get their book to the editor, and the editor has to restart the thing from start to finish because it's just it's not a book that's going to sell, or it doesn't work well in the way it's been put together or whatever. So I figured it'd be kind of cool to try this, and considering how busy I am, it's I don't have to sit down and go for these 4-hour, 8-hour, 10-hour chunks to try to create, if that makes sense. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
So speaking of being busy and needing help, you guys, where are you with AI help?
Oof.
As far as, because I know it's something that can, be, I don't know, I've seen it more and more in different places, different ways. And I'm always, I don't know which way to go. I'm excited and a little scared, but I don't know. It's tough. There's some stuff that's soul crushing of things I've done, and it can do better than me now. But then that also opens up to what else it could do, and what with the things I really suck at, I can have done for me now, such as even at the end of this, doing the show notes and putting that in through AI to let that, make it SEO strong and use all those keywords and all that stuff but then people for, or for lesson plans for some sort of whatever, be able to pop that out or outlines, or be able to take my voice, write everything in my voice and take these stories and make it into, and there's a lot, and it changes kind of the way, and then, but, and it's hard with writing, like writing is a tough one. Writing's a tough one. Music is a tough one. Video, I'm okay with. Video, I don't feel that bad for video editing. Actually, if you guys, if you have YouTube clips, they're not sponsored by me yet. Neither is YouTube. But if you want, and you have a YouTube video up to 2 hours, you can go to opus.pro, and then you put in your video, and it will make like 10 to 15 different clips that are ready to go for YouTube Shorts or TikTok, and it goes and like gets like the most poignant parts of the story that are going to be the highest ranking and whatever. And and does it in like 10 minutes. And it's free.
That's unreal.
I get why it's so appealing.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's so appealing is also why I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
Like I just
I think it's
I don't
amazing.
know.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely amazing. I think that for people like you said, for us, it's going to build us a team. It's like going to build us a team that like we would never have access to, essentially, and it would make our lives a lot easier. I think we're like 40-year-old people who still have the 12 o'clock flashing on the VTR.
Yep. Right.
Like,
Me
and
too.
we're working on moving our way further away from society and more into the bush. So for us, it's just trying to find that balance. But I totally understand how amazing it is in that sense. I also see the side of how terrifying it can be. I think we're a
Yeah.
ways from having to worry about it, but it's the fact that the ball is rolling that concerns me. And I mean, it is going to be what it is. I mean, like there's some things that once the ball gets rolling, it's really hard to stop, or you can't stop even. So for us, I think we're the type of people that we firmly believe that we vote with our dollars, we vote with our actions. And so, we have to be the people who we want to be, regardless of how easy or how hard it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's our stance on it. Although I do see the benefits of this from a business standpoint. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, it makes things that, like you said, it makes the things that you suck at a lot easier and makes you a lot better at those things magically overnight. But I think that that's the danger, because then you're losing all of the growth opportunity. Maybe you're not supposed to be able to put out that much content for a reason. Maybe
Right.
you're supposed to have a slow development to get you to the, like, maybe you have imposter syndrome stuff to work on, or self-worth stuff to work on, or confidence that you need to have all of that time to get to the point where you're all of a sudden super big now on YouTube, but you're confident in what you're saying. You're able to like project it in a way where you're going to make sense to people and you're going to be able to help people more than if you just are able to put a whole bunch of stuff together and throw it out there. What are you putting out? What if you don't know what you're putting out yet? You know what I mean?
Right. Right. More than me putting in there and telling it to write me a children's story with the moral being not to poop in the swimming pool.
There you go.
The world might not need that yet, though. So
it's like technology is any form of technology. It like can be simplified down to a tool. And often my concern is, especially with like when we look at our independence project and we look at why these parents and why these kids are having so much anxiety and depression, it's because technology is an enabler. And so it removes us from our natural state. So now rather than reading a story that you would have told us, like we think back to, I'm thinking of like, I'm coming up out of left field here, but like we talked about like the Vikings and the Nordic mythology, it was all passed down by stories. So it's real life stories, obviously not all of them, but a lot of these real life stories. And that's how we passed on information for so long. But now we're at the point where like, not only can we communicate this information to someone on the other side of the world in seconds, we're not even the ones communicating anymore. And that is like, it's just, we're moving us one step further from our natural state and from from this day and age where we have mental health crisis that is, don't know how to word this correctly, but really like we're causing it to ourselves, and it's really not that complicated to solve. And if we could just acknowledge that these things are creating these problems in us, and we could learn to live with them or without them, let's say, we could really make a big difference. So my concern is that every time something makes our life easier, it's enabling us and making us quote unquote weaker, which we don't actually want. We want to have confidence and abilities and skills and strength and so on. So
I feel like we're capable of doing things if we need to, instead of
Yeah.
needing to rely on technology to do them for us.
Yeah.
That's why we have so much anxiety,
yeah,
or
Right.
one of the reasons why.
yeah,
and then how fast you can get a shot of serotonin and dopamine just from going
Exactly.
like this.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
oh, I got 3 likes.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
exactly.
funny video, and it's, I don't know, like I'm
The
doing
sigh.
hypnosis for people with, so for social media, to get that down, to,
Yeah.
for like, uh, I don't want to say like, I don't know, social media dependence almost, and
Yeah.
just, yeah, being able to get away from that. And then with, like you were saying, with the stories, I mean, just the way you get 5 people in a room, everyone's going to have a different interpretation of the story. So if
Mhm.
you have that disconnect again of not having it be from the horse's mouth, or from the Norse's mouth, yeah, uh, yeah, there's the crickets. And so there's, um I don't know, yeah, there's just that more disconnected. It's harder to bring it back and get to a place where, if people are, like, you were saying earlier about being present in the moment. It's just all that's going through, not all, a good chunk of what's going through your head is what's going to come up here next.
Yeah.
What's this thing going to tell me?
Yeah.
What's my smart TV? How's my smart TV making me smart? What's next? And yet being able to get away from that and get to a place where you are able to be present in the moment is something that I believe needs to be worked on for a lot of people, especially the newer generation coming up. I mean, we lived in the analog world before, stuff was digital, and, but we're still, you know, victim to it as well. But I think, yeah, now it's for sure a lot more of a something that needs to be addressed, and just how much it can affect one person, every day, just not being present because they're, you know anxiety from a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot. So, and yeah, not a lot, just not being in the moment, in the place you need to be, and being in the right place in your head, and, allowing that to be how life is lived, and that life can be okay. It doesn't have to be. You can stop whatever it is,
Mm.
and change direction, pivot, and pivot again. You might not pivot the first time, and pivot again.
Mm.
Hmm. Exactly.
And so then, okay, you got the books coming up, 17, 18 books, somewhere in there. You got the projects, you got the two sides of the coin. And so where are people going to find you, on the internet? Go
The
on the
webs.
internet for that. Don't go on in
Yeah.
your
Come
go
find
on
us
and
there,
do
but the
everything
rest of it's
else.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll just give you our cell phone numbers and
Yeah.
you can
perfect. Yeah, that's another thing. If you do have an office line, make sure
Mm.
you get a Google Voice number. Um, that's free, and that way you don't have to give out your work phone. Is not your personal phone, but it goes to your own phone. It forwards
Perfect.
automatically, so you can have it and it's there,
Yeah.
but you can just ignore it, and they don't have your personal phone number.
Okay.
But they have your personal phone, access to your personal phone, but you can not answer. So if they're not there, if they're going to look up your names on the internet to
Yeah.
be able to work with you, where are they going to go for that?
You can find us both on Instagram. So I am Sparklish AF, and Dan is a lowdown leadership and relationship with an N in between. And then you can also have those little mini website builder things, which is also the link on my Instagram. So you can find a whole bunch of information there. Dan has one as well.
Yeah, and then I've got a Facebook group where we put up lots of free content. It's called Lowdown Leadership and Relationships. Pretty easy to find, and you just have to fill out a few questions. And it's for anyone who wants to improve their relationship with themselves, the relationship with partner, family member, children, you name it, and or anything leadership related. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Well, cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I enjoy getting to talk with two people today, not four, but two on two hands. Yeah, and everyone check them out. Don't go and try to find them on your own. Just stick with the information that they just provided. Don't go past that.
Never know what you might find out there.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. The internet's a big place. So all right. Well, yeah, you two have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks so much for having us on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you too.
you're welcome. All right. Okay, well, that's Jen and Dan, and you should check them out. They're on my show. Tell them old Rusty Diamond sent you. And thank you guys for being here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN, with great shows such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling podcast. This is It with Lizzie, Saved by the Ben, and sponsored by SuckEmUp.org. Fred Ben Savage as fuck. Hypnosis is great. Hardcore Comedy and Stoner Eats Productions. You guys, and that is the show, man. Boom!
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?